Chapter 18. I woke up the next day in my coffin. I walked out of it and put on some black eyeliner, black eyeshadow, blood-bed lipstick, and a black, really low-cut leather dress that was all ripped and in stripes so you could see my belly. I was wearing a skull belly ring with black and red diamonds inside it. The night before, Draco and I went back to the skull. Get it? Skull? 'Cause I'm gothic and I like death. Dumbledore chased Voldemort away. We flew there on our brooms. Mine was black, and the broom stuff was blood red. There was lace all over it. Draco had a black MCR broom. We went back to our rooms, and we had, you know what, to a Linkin Park song. Well, anyway, I went down to the Great Hall. There, all the walls were painted black, and the tables were black too. But you would see that there was pink pant under death, the black pant. And there were pastors of poser bands everywhere, like Ashley Simpson and the Backstreet Boys.
WTF?
I shouted, going to set next to B. Bloody Mary and Willow. B. Bloody Mary was wearing a black leather mini with a good Chalut t-shirt, black fishnets, and black pointy boots. Willow was wearing a long gothic black dress with blood red writing that was all lacy and came up to your thighs, and black boots and fishnets. Vampire, Dracula, and Draco came. We started to talk about who was sexier, Mikey or Gerard Way, or Billy Joe Armstrong. The boys joined in, 'cause they were bi.
Those guys are so fucking hot.
Navel was saying as suddenly a gothic old man with a black beard and everything came. He was the same one who had chased away Voldemort yesterday. He had tan skin, but he was wearing white foundation, and he had dyed his hair black.
Dumbledore?
We all gasped.
WTF? I thought he was just wearing that to scare Voldemort.
I shouted angrily.
Hello, everyone,
Dumbledore said happily.
As you can see, I gave the room a makeover. What do you think about it?
Everyone from the poser table in Gryffindor started to cheer. Well, we goths just looked at each other all disgusted and shook our heads. We couldn't believe what a poser he was. One.
BTW, you can call me Albert,
Dumbledore called as we left to our classes.
What a fucking poser,
Draco shouted angrily as we to transformation. We were holding hands. Vampire looked really jealous. I could see him crying blood in a gothic way, get it, like Gerard. But I didn't say anything.
I bet he's having a midlife crisis,
Willow shouted. I was so fucking angry. Chapter 19. I'm not okay, I promise. All day we sat angrily thinking about Dumbledore. We were so fucking pissed off. Well, I had one thing to look forward to, the MCR concert. It had been postponed, so we all could go. Anyway, I went to the common room, sadly, to cut classes. Draco was being all secretive. I asked what it was, and he got all mad at me and started crying, all hot and angsty. Sensitive bi guys are so hot.
No one fucking understands me. One.
He shouted angrily as his black hair went in his big blue eyes like Billy Joe in Boulevard of Broken Dreams. He was wearing black baggy pants, a black MCR t-shirt, and a black dye. Get it? Instead of tie, 'cause I'm gothic. I was wearing a black leather low-cut top with chains all over it. A black leather mini, black high-held boots, and a cross-belly thing. My hair was all up in a messy, really high bun like Amy Lee in Gong Under. Email me if you want to see the pic.
Accuse me? What about me?
I growled.
But...
Draco grunted.
You fucking bastard.
I moaned.
No, it's not what it fucking looks like.
He shouted, but it was too late. I knew what I heard. I ran to the bathroom angrily. Kring. Draco banged on the door. I whipped and whipped as my bloody eyeliner streamed down my cheeks and made cool tears down my feces like Benji in the video for Girls and Boys. Raven, that is so our video. I took out a cigarette and started to smoke pot. Suddenly, Hargrid came. He had appurated.
You gave me a fucking shook!
I shouted angrily, dropping my pot.
WTF do you think you're doing in the girls' room?
Only it wasn't just Hargrid. Someone else was with him, too. For a second, I wanted it to be Tom Ridd, or maybe Draco. But it was Dumbledore.
Hey, I need to ask you a question,
Dumbledore said, pulling out his black wannabe Gothic purse.
What are you wearing to the concert?
You know who MCR are?
I gasped.
No, I just saw there was a concert that a lot of gossip punks were going to,
Dumbledore said.
Anyway, Draco has a surprise for you.
Chapter 20. All day, I wondered what the surprise was. Meanwhile, I pot on a black ladder mini, a black corset with purple lace stuff all over it, and black Gothic compact boots. MCR were going to do the concert again, since Volksamort had taken over the last one. I slit my wrists while I moshed to MCR in my bedroom all night, feeling excited. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door while I was trying on some black clothes and moshing to Fang You for the Venom. I got all mad and turned it off, but sacredly, I hopped inside that it was Draco, so we could do it again.
What the fucking hell are you doing?
I shouted angrily. It was Lupin.
Are you gonna come? Me or what?
I yelled. I was allowed to say that because Dumbledore had told us all to be careful around him and Snap, since he was a pedo.
No, actually, get it? Hell, can I please borrow some condoms?
He growled angrily.
Yeah, so you can fook your, sick, old girlfriend, huh?
I shouted sarcastically.
Fooker.
He said, going away. Well, anyway, I put on some black eyeshadow, black eyeliner, and some black lipstick and white foundation. Then I went. Then I gasped. Snake and Lupin were in the middle of the empty hall, doing it. And Dobby was watching. One.
Oh my god, you ludicrous idiot.
They both shooted angrily when they saw me. Dobby ran away crying. They got up, though. Normally, I would have been turned on. I love Kringas do it. But both of them were fucking preps. BTW, Snake is moved to Gryffindor now.
WTF, is that why you wanted condoms?
I said, sadistically. See, I spelt that.
Only you wouldn't give them to me.
Lupin shouted angrily.
Well, you should have told me,
I replayed.
You dimwit.
Snake began to shoot angrily, and then I took out my black camera and took a pic of them. You could see that they were naked and everything.
Well, excuse me. What was
that all about?
They both shouted angrily.
It was to blackmail you.
I snarked.
So now next time you see me doing it with my boyfriend, you can't fucking rate me out or I'll show this to Dumbledore. So fuck off, you bastards.
I started to run. They chased me, but I threw my wound at them and they tripped over it. Well, anyway, I went outside and there was Vampire looking extremely fucking hot.
WTF, where'd Draco?
I asked him.
Oh, he's a fucking bastard. He told me he wouldn't come.
Vampire said, shaking his head.
You wanna come with me to the concert?
Then he showed me his flying car. I gasped. It was a black car. He said his dog father, Sirius Blake, had given it to him. The license plate on the front said MCR 666 on it. The one on the back said Enobi on it. I gasped. We flew to the concert hall. MCR was there, playing. Vampire and I began to make out, moshing to the music. I gasped, looking at the band. I almost had an orgasm. Gerard was so fucking hot. He began to sing Helena, and his sexa beautiful voice began to fill the hall. And then I heard some crying. I turned and saw Draco crying in a corner. Chapter 21. Later, we all went to the Skull. Draco was crying in the common room.
Draco, are you okay?
I asked in a gothic voice.
No, I'm not, you fucking bitch.
He shouted angrily. He stated to run out of the place in a suicidal way. I stated to cry, 'cause I was afraid he would commit suicide.
It's okay, Enobi,
said Vampire, comfortably.
I'll make him feel better.
You mean you'll go fuck him, won't you?
I shouted angrily. Then I ran to get Draco. Vampire, come too.
Draco, please come.
Vampire began to cry. Tears of blood came down his pale face. I was so turned on, 'cause I love sensitive bi guys. If you are a homophone, then fuck off. And then we heard some footsteps. Vampire got out his Blake invisibility coke. We both got under it. We saw the janitor, Mr. Norris, there, shouting angrily, with a flashlight in his hand. "Who's there?" he shouted angrily. We saw filth come. We went under the invisibility cloak and started to meow loudly. "Is anyone there?" yelled Mr. Norris.
No, fuck you, you preppy little poser son of a fucking biche,
Vampire said under his breast in a disgusted way. Excuse me, who said that? Yelled Ninner Norris. Then he heard Filch meow. Filth, is there anyone under the cloak? He asked. Filth nodded, and then Vampire Frenched me. He did it in juice as Mr. Norris was taking off the cloak. One. What the? He yelled, but it was too late. Vuz now. We were ruining away from him. And then we saw Draco crying and boosting into tears and slitting his wrists outside of the school.
Draco, are you okay?
I cried.
I guess so.
Draco wept. We went back to our coffins, Frenching each other. Draco and I decided to watch Lake Placid. See, isn't that depressing? On the gothic red bed together. As I was about to put in the video, my eyes rolled up, and suddenly I had a vision of something that was happening now. There was a knock on the door, and Fug and the Mystery of Magic walked into the school. 1. Chapter 22. All day, everyone talked about the misery of magic. Well, anyway, I woke up the next day. I was in my coffin, so I opened the door. I was wearing Blake lacy leather pajamas. Then I gasped. Standing in front of me where? Be Bloody Mary, Vampire, Diabolo, Draco, Dracula, and Willow. I opened my crimson eyes. Willow was wearing a tight black leather top with pictures of bloody roses all over it. Under that, she wore a black poofy skirt with lace on it, and black gothic boots that was attached to the top. Vampire was wearing a baggy Simple Plan t-shirt and baggy black pants and Vans. Draco was wearing a black MCR t-shirt and black jeans and a leather jacket. He looked just likey Gerard Way and almost as fucking sexy. Vampire looked like Joel Madden. Bloody Mary was wearing a tight black poofy gothic dress that she had ripped so it showed of all her clearage, with a white apron that said Bic and another swear words and MCR lyrics on it, kind of like one dress I had seen Amy Lee wear once. Darkness, who is Jenny, was there too. She was weaving a ripped gothic black dress with ripped stuff all over it and a lace-up top thing and black pointy boots. So were Crab and Goyle. It turns out that Darkness, Diabolo, Crab and Goyle's dad, was a vampire. He committed suicide by slitting his wrists with a razor. He had them and stuff before too. They all got so depressed that they became gothic and converted to Stanism.
OMFG!
I yielded as I jumped up.
Why the fuck are you all here?
Nobi, something is really fucked up,
Draco said.
Okay, but I need to put on my fucking clothes first.
I shouted angrily.
It's alright. We have to go now, and you look kawaii anyway. You're so fucking beautiful,
Draco said in a sexy voice.
Oh, alright.
I said, smiling.
But you have to tell me why you're being all erective.
I will,
Draco said. So I just put on some black eyeliner, black lipstick, and red eyeshadow, and white foundation. Then I came. We all went outside the Great Hall and looked in from a window. A fucking prep called Brittany from Gryffindor was standing next to us. She was wearing a pink mini and a Hilary Duff t-shirt, so we put up our middle fingers at her. Inside the Great Hall, we could see Dumbledore. Cornelia Fudged was there shouting at Dumbledore. Doris Rumbridge was there too.
This cannot be! The school must be closed!
Doris shouted angrily. The Bark Lord is planning to kill all the students, yelled Cornelia Fudge.
You are not fit to be the principal any longer!
Yelled Rumbridge.
You are too old and your Alzheimer's is dangerous! You must retry or Voldemort will kill your students!
Very well,
Dumbledore said angrily.
But we cannot do this. We can't close the school. There's only one person who is capable of killing Voldemort, and she is in the school, and her name is Inani Darnas Dementia Ravenway.
Draco, Crab, Goyle, Darkness, Willow, Vampire, and Bloody Mary looked at each other. I gasped. Chapter 23. The door opened, and Professor Rumbridge and Cornelia Fudge stomped out angrily. Then Dumbledum and Rumbridge sawed us.
Mr. Way, what the bleep are you doing?
Rumbridge shouted angrily. Dumbledore blared at her.
Oops, she made a mistake.
Dumbledore corrupted her.
She means hi. Everybody come in.
Well, we all came in. Angrily. So did all the other students. I sat between Darkness and Draco. And opposite Bloody Mary. Crab and Goyle started to make some morbid jokes. They both looked exactly like Vile Volo. I ate some Count Chocula and drank some blood from a cup. Then I heard somebody shooting angrily. I looked behind me. It was Vampire. He and Draco were shooting at each other.
Vampire, Draco, WTF?
I asked.
You frickin' bastard,
Yelled Draco at Vampire.
I want to sit next to her. One. No, I do.
Shouted.
No, she doesn't fucking like you, son of a bitch.
Yelled Draco.
No, fuck you, motherfucker. She laves me, not you.
Shouted Vampire. And then he jumped on Draco. Not in that way, you perv. They started to fight and beat up each other. Dumbledore yelled at them, but they didn't stop. All of a sudden, a terrible man with red eyes and no nose flew in on his broomstick. He had no nose and was wearing a gray robe. All the glass in the window he flew through fell apart. Brittany, that fucking prep, started to cry. Vampire and Draco stopped fighting. I stopped eating. Everyone gasped. Da room fell silent. Voldemort.
Abelby. Ebony.
Darth Vader said evilly in his raspy voice.
Thou have failed your mission. Now I shall kill thou, and I shall kill Vampire as well. If thou does not kill him before then, I shall kill Draco too.
Pills, don't make me kill him, Pills.
I begged.
No.
He laughed crudely.
Kill him, or I shall kill him anyway.
Then he flew away, cackling. I bust into tears. Draco and Vampire came to contort me. Suddenly, my eyes rolled up so they looked all cool and gothic. I had a vision where I saw some lightning flash and then Voldemort coming to kill Draco while Draco slit his wrists in a depressed way.
No!
I screamed sexily. Suddenly, I locked up and stopped having the vision.
Ebony, are you all right?
Asked Draco in a worried voice.
Yeah.
I said sadly as I got up.
Everything's all right, Anobi,
said Vampire, all sensitive.
No, it's not!
I shouted angrily. Tears of blood went down my face.
OMFG, what if I'm getting possessed like in The Ring 2?
It's okay, girl, said Bloody Mary. Maybe you should ask Professor Sinister about what divisions mean, though.
Okay, Bish,
I said sadly, and then we went. Chapter 24. Well, we had deviation next, so I got to ask Professor Trevelry about the visions.
Konnichiwa, everybody come in,
said Professor Sinister in Japanese. She smelled at me with her gothic black lipstick. She's the coolest fucking teacher ever. She had long, dead black hair with blood-red tips and red eyes. Her mom was a vampire. She's also half Japanese, so she speaks it and everything. She and Bloody Murray get along great. She's really young for a teacher. Today, she was wearing a black leather top with red lace and a long, gothic black ripped dress. We went inside the black classroom with pastors of Emily the Strong. I raised my hand. I was wearing some black nail polish with red pentagrams on it.
What is it, Anabi?
She asked.
Hey, I love your nail polish. Where'd you get it? Hot Topic?
Yeah,
I answered. All the preps who didn't know what HT was gave me weird looks. I gave them the middle finger.
well, I have to talk to you about some things. When do you want to do it?
How about now?
She asked.
Okay.
I said.
Okay, class fucking dismissed, everyone.
Professor Trevelry said, and she let everyone go.
Except for you, Brittany.
She pointed at Brittany and some other preps.
Please do exercise, get it? 1 on page 3.
Okay, I'm having lots of visions.
I said in a worried voice. I'm so worried. Is Draco going to die? Well, she gave me a black cryptal ball to lock in. I looked at it.
What do you see?
She asked.
I said I see a black gothic skull and a pentagram.
Suddenly there was a knock at the door. I looked at it. It was Draco. He was looking really sexy, wearing a black leather facet, a black gothic Linkin Park t-shirt, and a black Congress shoes.
Okay, you can go now, see ya, cunt,
said Professor Sinister.
Bye, bitch.
I said, waving. I went to Draco and Vampire was sitting next to him. We both followed Draco together, and I was so exhibited. Chapter 25. I was so excited. I followed Draco, wandering if we were going to do it again. We went outside, and then we went into Draco Black car.
Ebony, what the fuck did Professor Trevally say?
Whispered Draco, potting his gothic wit hand with black nail polish on mine.
She said she would tell me what the visions meant. Toralmo.
I grumbled in a sexy voice. He took out a heroin cabaret and spiked it, and gave it to me to spork. He started to fly the car into a tree. We went to the top of it. Draco put on some MCR.
So you put a note for copyrighted musical lyrics? What's the song that they're listening to? Do you remember?
I don't remember. Just Helena.
Probably probably
it's
fucking Helena.
Yeah.
Sang Gerard's sexy voice. We started tilling of each other's cloves fervently. He took of my black thong and my black leather bar. I took of his black boxers. Then he put his throbbing you-know-what in my tool, sexily.
OMFG Draco. Draco!
I screamed, having an orgasm. We stated Frenching passively. Suddenly, I fell asleep. I started having a dream. In it, a black guy was shooting two gothic men with long black hair.
No! Please don't fucking kill us! One.
They pleaded, but he just kept shooting them. He ran away in a red car.
No! Oh my fucking god! One.
I shouted in a scared voice.
Ebony, what's wrong?
Draco asked me as I woke up, opening my icy blue eyes. I started to cry, and tears of blood went down my face. I told Draco to call Vampire. He did it with his Blake Lickin' Park Mobile. But the worst thing was who the people who were shot in the dream where Lucian and Sirius. 1. Chapter 26. A few mutates later, Vampire came to the tree. He was wearing a black leather Jackson, black leather pants, and a good Kralotti t-shirt.
Hi, Vampire,
I said flirtily as I started to sob. Draco hugged me sexily, triumphant, to comfort me. I started to cry tears of blood, and then told him what happened.
Oh, fuck it.
Vampire shouted angrily. He, started to cry sadly.
What fucking dick did that?
I don't know. Now come on, we have to tell Dumbledore,
I said. We ran out of the tree and into the castle. Dumbledore was sitting in his office.
Sire, our dad was shot,
Draco said, while we whipped some tears from his white face.
And Abby had a visited dream.
Double Odor started to cockle.
And how do you expect me to know Ebony's not divisional?
I glared at Dumbledore.
Look, motherfucker,
He said angrily as Dumbledore gasped. "She is the toot of Crackter."
you know very well I'm not decisional. Now get some fucking people out there to look for Ceres and Lucian porn too.
Okay.
He said in a intimated voice.
Where are they?
I thought about it. Then, all of a sudden,
Longdon.
I said. I told him which street. He went and called some people and did some stuff. After a few mistunes, he came back and said people were going out looking for them. After a while, someone called him again. He said that they had been found. Draco, Vampire, and I all left our rooms together. I went with Draco to wait in the nurse's office, while Vampire went to slit his wrists in his room. We looked at each other's gothic, derp, erased eyes. Then we kissed. Suddenly, Sirius and Lucian came in on stretchers. and Professor Sinister was behind them. 1. Chapter 27 in all its mythical and magical glory, with the heading, Vampires Will Never Hurt You. Everyone in the room stated to cry happily. I had saved them. Draco, Lucian, Sirius, Bond, Vampire, all came to hug me. The nurse started to give them medicine.
Come on, Anobi,
said Professor Sinatra. She was wearing a gothic black leader dress with a corset top and real vampire blood on it, and fucking black platinum boots.
I have to tell you the fucking perdition.
I looked at Lucian, Seraphs, Drake, and Vampire. They nodded. I smelled happily and went into a dark room. I had changed Professor Sinister, took out some black cards. She started to look into a black crucible ball. She said,
Terra, I see Drake times are near.
She said, badly. She peered into da balls.
You see, you must go back in time.
She took out a time toner, like Bloody Mary had.
When Voldemort was in Hogwarts, before he became powerful, he got his heart broken. Now do you think he would still become Vlooksmort if he was in love?
I shook my head.
You must go back in time and seduce him. It is the only way. If he is still evil, then you must kill him. You could come to my room tomorrow and you can do it.
Okay,
I said sadly. We did death's took sin. I went outside again sadly.
What fucking happened?
Asked Draco and Vampire.
Yeah, what happened?
Asked Darkness, Willow, and Boldy Mary. I was about to them, but everyone was there. They were celebrating Lucian and Sirius being fond. Everyone was proud of me, but I wanted to talk to Draco. They were cheesing my name, and some reporters were there, trying to interview Dumbledore. A banner was put up. Lots of fucking preps were there, obviously trying to be gothic, wearing the HM sign on their hands, despite them not having Ask Shelley heard of him. Even Mr. Norris looked happy. A Blake and red cake had been brought out. Crab and Goyle set up some fireworks in the shape of skulls from Wesley's Wizard Wises. I put on my invisibility cloak with Vampire and Draco, and we sneaked out together.